Greetings, one and all. Welcome to the Happy Go Hockey podcast. Hey, we're here. So, yeah, it's me. Hello, we have Chris here on the right-hand side of the screen. He's that way.
Yep, hello.
Hi, Chris. So, Chris, he does stuff for the Nottingham Lions, and he likes hockey. And he's an alright dude, so I thought I'd bring him on. So, yeah, we are streaming the Happy Go Hockey podcast, which is basically a place where we can just talk about hockey. Because why not? It's my answer to that. Like, I wanted to have a chance I wanted to have the chance to talk about some hockey, so let's talk about some hockey. Why not? Let me just refresh this. So, Chris, how are you doing today? You alright? You good?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Yeah, work was fine, and then came back and knew I had this. So
this isn't a therapy session, Chris. Come on. So
I'm ready to talk about hockey.
Yeah. So let's start then. You've got our Twitter handles underneath here. There and there. Wait, what? There.
Right underneath the cameras.
Yeah, wait, there it is. So you've got some Twitter handles there. If you want to follow us on Twitter, send us any questions, you can send them in the live chat as well. So essentially, this is a pilot episode to this podcast. Chris and I have talked about potentially making it a weekly thing. It's up to you guys, really. If you guys like it and we have a lot of people watching it, then we'll do more of it. If you guys hate it and want to kill us by the end of it, then we won't do it anymore. So
yeah, and we can't hide because you've got our Twitter handles now.
Exactly. So it's completely up to you what you want to do with this. So hello 420 Blazer, how you doing? Welcome to the stream.
Hey 420 Blaze.
Blaze. So let's so we had something that came out recently. Like, by recently I mean in the last hour.
Like Hayden was worried if he'd be able to start the stream on time.
Exactly. So there has been a press conference held by the New York Rangers in the last hour. Chris, do you have the press conference there?
I can get it up. I
have it already, so I can read it out.
All right. Yeah, you do it then.
I didn't want you to be left there just sitting there.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But to be fair, by the time that we finish talking this, I've got it back up again.
Oh, well, there you go. So did you want to read it out and then I respond, or do you want to do it the other way around?
You're the Rangers fan, so I'll read it and you respond.
Sure. Okay, so this is an
apologies to everyone because I'm looking at my phone.
Okay, this is an official press release that the New York Rangers put out about half an hour ago. Chris, take it away.
So, as a member of the Blue Shirt Faithful, we consider you a part of the New York Rangers family. Emphasis on the singular there. Yeah. And always want to ensure we share important news about the organisation directly with you.
Good.
Today we want to talk to you about the future. As you know, since the 2005-06 season, we've had a highly competitive team. We have played 129 playoff games, won the President's Trophy, reached the conference finals 3 times, as well as the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
Whilst we're proud of all those accomplishments, we didn't reach our ultimate goal of bringing the Stanley Cup back to New York.
Thanks, LA.
So, as we do every season, we've been continuously evaluating our team, looking for areas that can be improved to enhance our chances of winning. We began the process of reshaping our team this past summer when we traded for assets that we believe will help us in the years to come. As we approach the trade deadline later this month and into the summer, we will be focused on adding young, competitive players that combine speed, skill, and character.
Oh, that's nice.
This may mean we lose some familiar faces, guys we all care about and respect. Yeah. While this is part of the game, it's never easy. Our promise to you is that our plans will be guided by our singular commitment, ensuring we are building the foundation for our next Stanley Cup contender.
Aww.
There are no fans like Rangers fans. Well,
True.
There's Leafs fans.
Boom.
You are passionate. You are passionate, loyal, and true. You fill the garden every night, and we always know there will be a strong showing from Rangers Town in every building across the league.
Damn right.
We do not take your support for granted. We appreciate that you've always stood by us, and we ask you to remain by our side as we undertake this exciting new chapter filled with promise and change. We will keep you informed as this process takes shape. Thank you for your incredible loyalty, pride, and respect you show to the New York Rangers each and every day. From the president and the general manager.
So, this press conference, it's nice. Like, so this is purely from the perspective of a long-time New York Rangers fan. So we have the more impartial opinion from Chris coming in a minute. But in terms of what I think about this, it's nice that they did it. But at the end of the day, everybody knew that this was happening anyway. Like, if anybody keeps tabs on the New York Rangers or the National Hockey League as a whole, everybody knows that the New York Rangers are going to go through somewhat of a rebuild in the off-season. That's been an assurance since the new year. Rick Nash, he's handed in his 12 teams that he would be traded to, like on his limited no trade clause or whatever.
Michael just Grabner, 12.
Yeah, okay, because there was, I think he could submit a list of 18 teams he didn't want to go to, or something like that. Like he submitted the list of teams he didn't want to be traded to. So then all the other teams are the ones that he can be sent to if they end up sending him there, which I assume are cup contenders. I don't think Arizona will be on that list, ladies and gents. But I think this is a nice gesture, but it's kind of, we know. Like, if they'd come out and said, we've made a massive trade, or we've done something huge like this, or if it was a press conference with any weight to it that people didn't already know what they were talking about, then it would be fine. Like, great, have the press conference. But that wasn't the case. So, what was the point in it? To tell us something we already know? I already knew that they were going to be sellers.
Yeah, you knew that. Well, I mean, you knew the press conference was coming, and we were looking at it, and we both said that he was getting the sack, and then it just kind of didn't happen. It was kind of a nothing conference.
Yeah. I mean, like, Brendan Smith got put down on waivers today. He's on like a 4-year, $4 million contract. Like, that was more news today than them telling us that they're going to go through a rebuild. Like, we know.
Yeah.
Tell us something we don't know. Like, Brendan Smith has gone down on waivers, and tell us why. I mean, he's played awfully. He's a shit defenseman this year. Like, I understand why he's been sent down, but tell us why he's been sent down. Give us your response to the whole situation, you know?
And this is what happens when Odd Man Rush talks about hockey. He just gets raging straight away.
Well, I mean, I'm not playing Hut today, so it's more balanced. So
7 minutes in, something like that, you know, and you're already raging.
It's just such a stupid thing. Like, why hold this press conference to say, oh, by the way, guys, we're going to trade away a load of players at the deadline? I know! You've told everybody this. Everybody knows. You've got Rick Nash. You've already asked for his no-trade list. You've got bloody Michael Grabner, who's a 20-goal scorer this year, and you can get rid of him really easily. A team will want that depth scoring. You've got Nick Holden, that if a team is really feeling desperate, they'll pick him up. You've got Brendan Smith, that if a team really hates their defensive core, you can pick him up as well. Like, there's so many guys there that you can trade. We know you're going to trade them because this team sucks. They've lost 7 out of the 8 last games that they've played. They got demolished by Boston last night. I watched like the first 10 minutes. They went 2-1 up, and I was like, no, I'm done. Like, it's 1:30 in the morning. I'm going to bed. Like, come on. Oh,
because I speak to him on an almost regular basis, guys, and this is what I get most of the time.
Well, God, I mean, you should bloody heard me after the Nottingham Panthers game, but we'll get into that later.
Oh, we will.
Hell.
I'm conscious of the question from Mark's story. Now you've seen an NIHL game. What do you think, Godman Rush?
I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, and not because I'd been brought down there to do a podcast or anything. No, it was really good.
Well,
I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was... I mean, usually there was a very small crowd in comparison to most hockey games I've been to, but I actually quite liked that. It meant that I could just focus on what was happening on the ice and not, like, all the shitheads in the audience going, oh, kill him, hey, no, ref penalty. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. Shut up. Watch the game. I really enjoyed that. It was nice.
Yeah, so, Mark, are you, do you follow an NIHL team? We'll find out that, but yeah, the Rangers press conference. It was a very nothing conference.
Yeah,
it was a bit pointless. But
I'm not gonna lie. They started like the Facebook Live update. They were like, "Oh, the New York Rangers are now live," which was nice and all that. Thanks for telling us. But they did that at like 7:30 or 6:30 our time, They got on for
Yeah.
5 minutes, said what they needed to say, answered a few questions, then pissed off again. Like, there was more time of nobody on the screen than the general manager or the, like, owner. What?
Yeah. No, I know. It was just like they pretty much said what was in the transcript that they put on Twitter before they'd even said it anyway.
Exactly.
Mark, the Coventry Blaze NIHL. Oh, nice. So that's in the Southern Division. I've not really been following the Southern Division. I've been focused on the bottom of the Northern Division. But what are you booing at?
So there's the Rangers press conference.
Yeah.
What should we talk about next?
Well, let's do the rest of the NHL first.
Sure.
Let's
Okay.
get the
Rest of
NHL
the
completely
It's a good
done.
place to start. So the trade deadline is on the 26th of February. It's a Monday. So I would assume that's in like 2.5 weeks, roughly. Biggest guy that you think is going to be traded this deadline, Chris? Go.
Oh no! Oh come on! Because that's just. I don't know because I've not been following the NHL as much as I should. Really shouldn't.
God,
But
I'll bring you on this podcast to show how smart you are.
well, look, wait till we get onto the British stuff, then I'll.
All right.
I'm just, the NHL. I look at the NHL results every morning and I go, ha, the Rangers lost. I can laugh at Odd Man Rush.
Oi, listen here, right? Stop it.
That's what I do most mornings, especially when you've played Toronto.
And then I look at the results and I cry into my cereal. Anyway, okay. Right, I'll start the conversation. Oh, well, we've got a comment. Andy T, welcome to the stream, buddy. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Andy.
Where will Rick Nash end up? Okay, I'll limit that to you, Chris. Where will Rick Nash end up after the trade deadline? Because we know he's definitely being traded.
Yeah. And he wants to go to a team challenging for the Cup.
Yeah.
And then you've also got to factor in which teams have got the salary cap.
Well, I mean, there is the talk of the Rangers retaining salary as well. They can retain up to 50% of the player's contract. I believe he's on 7 million, so they can retain 3.5 mil, which for a cup contender could be the difference.
Yeah, now is he going to stay in the East?
That's a good
question. Or is he going to go west? Because
what do you think?
Well, the West, you've got a lot more teams that are in and around Winnipeg,
two
Nashville.
Teams that I have heard have expressed interest in Rick Nash, not necessarily getting a trade together, but they've expressed interest, are Nashville and Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Winnipeg
Andy,
are looking
I think
for a
he's
guy...
overpaid at $7.5 million. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah,
yes.
He is overpaid at $7.5 million. But then again, he got given that contract in Columbus still. Like, he was still a top point scoring machine for the Columbus Blue Jackets at the time. He's now turned more into a third line strong penalty killer. He can score goals. Like, he's going to be a 20 goal scorer by the end of this season. That's a given. And he scored 40 goals a couple of years ago. Whilst that means nothing this year, like, he's still got the hands to score goals. It's just like his contract has basically come back to bite him in the arse. He'd have a lot more interest if he was on a $3-4 million contract. You know,
you've got to think as well where you're saying, or where's he going to go, is who needs him?
Yeah,
because your teams that are strong cup contenders already don't really need him because the players they've got.
Well, I would argue they do. I would argue they're exactly the teams that are interested in him because take Winnipeg, for example. The reason they'd pick up Rick Nash is they want a guy to play with Scheifele, who's coming back soon, and Blake Wheeler. They're missing that top left winger that can go and play with them. Rick Nash, a guy that can play on the top line or the bottom line. He might be a good fit there. Andy T also says Dallas. Yep, the Dallas Stars. I've heard some sort of rumours going there. However, I would definitely assume the Rangers would retain salary if the Dallas Stars.
He's only on pace to score 35 points, and he's scored less than 40 in 4 of the last 5 seasons.
That's very true. But then again, he's completely regressed. Like, Rick Nash is not a top scorer anymore. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think that at all. He is massively overpaid, but a lot of the stuff that he does doesn't come up on the score sheet.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, is he one of these people that, I mean, if you look at the score sheet, gets traded on reputation rather than recent results?
For the score sheet, yes. For actual on-ice play, no. I think during the Rangers press conference, they said that in the game last night against Boston, they had 25 scouts in attendance. Like, they had almost a scout from every single NHL team there to take a look. So, Rick Nash, he has become one of the best penalty killers in the league. Like, that might be my Rangers bias here, but I'm not going to lie, I think that's true. I think Rick Nash, because he's strong, because he's tough, and because he can hold on to the puck for however long he wants, he has become one of the best penalty killers in the National Hockey League. And in the playoffs, that goes a long way. You see every year that the bottom six centres and good face-off guys, they go for a huge amount at the trade deadline. And most of the time, they go to a team and help them win it.
They do. Game Smash, what was the score with Lions and Billingham? Well, they played twice that weekend. The one where Oddman Rush came up to Nottingham and commentated with me, Billingham won by 6-1.
Yeah,
then at
rough.
Billingham, the following day, they won it in overtime, 6-5.
So where did his career take a turn downhill? Andy T, so where did Rick Nash's career take a downhill? He realised that, well, I mean, I think it's a prime example of a player having to evolve in order to stay in the league. You see countless times older players excuse me, older players having to change the way that they play their game in order to stay on an NHL roster. I'm not to say that Rick Nash wasn't a solid player. He was a solid point scorer early in his career. He basically led the Columbus Blue Jackets to their first ever playoff berth. However, the problem is that he's a big guy. He's now in his early to mid 30s. He's slowing down. Like, he isn't as fast as he used to be.
Interesting on NHL, where they're talking about Rick Nash's trading commodity. They're saying potentially the Colorado Avalanche.
Avalanche, that's interesting.
They're a young team, lots of cap space. They rank second to last in the NHL with 29.7 shots per game. Cool. And Nash is 26th in the NHL with 3.13 shots per game during the last 3 seasons. So they reckon that he can boost the totals, play tough minutes alongside Soderberg and Blake Camus. Allowing the top line with Nathan McKinnon to focus on scoring, so providing the depth and not having the top line having to play extra shifts.
Yeah, okay. That's not the place where I would assume that he'd go to, but I don't think it's out of the cards. I definitely think if I had to pick one place, right? So Chris, what we're going to do here is going to pick one place and we're going to say why. The speculation's over now. We've had a little chat.
Okay.
Now we've got to make a decision. No indecisiveness here on the Happy Go Hockey podcast, folks. So, I am going to say the Rick Nash... Oh, now this is really difficult, actually, isn't it? I don't think he's going to be traded to the Eastern Conference. I don't
think that New York will want him to, because they won't want to play him too much.
And I don't think they'll get enough back for him. Especially because these teams will want to swindle the Rangers out of as much as possible or give up as little as possible because potentially they could play them in the playoffs.
Exactly.
I mean, the Rangers, they're not in the playoffs at the moment, but they could make the playoffs. So I think that Rick Nash will be traded. I'm stuck between.
It's difficult because we don't know which 12 teams he wants to go to.
Exactly, yeah. You would have thought somebody would have actually released the list of teams he was interested in going to play for. I'm stuck between Nashville and Winnipeg. I think I'm going to go Winnipeg. What about you, Chris?
Well, I'm tempted to throw in a little bit of a curveball, but because I mean Winnipeg, Nashville, yeah, okay. Winnipeg second in the West behind Vegas, Nashville third. Does he do that where he's hoping for an instant cup?
Yeah.
Which is like obviously his plan, or does he go to a team potentially like LA, who can get into the playoffs, as we've seen before, and once they're in the playoffs, it doesn't matter where they finished in the regular season because they can have a really deep cup run. and you can never count against Los Angeles when they get to the
That's quite an interesting
playoffs.
one, actually. LA, okay. So I'm saying Winnipeg. Chris is saying LA. Let us know in the chat below who you think, where you think Rick Nash is going to go. We would love to hear your thoughts on this as well. We've got one more guy to talk about, and then we'll talk about a certain suspension that happened recently, and then I think we'll move on.
Oh yes.
So Evander Kane, Mr. Evander Kane, Mr. quote locker room cancer Evander Kane. Where do you think he's going, Chris?
Oh, come on. Who wants him?
Well, I've heard some interest from Pittsburgh about Evander Kane. I think he could go to Pittsburgh. They need... Phil Kessel's now starting to play well with Riley Sheehan, so they need that second line winger. However, do they go for somebody that's proven in the past to have locker room problems? I think without a doubt Evander Kane is being traded somewhere at the trade deadline. I think Buffalo would be stupid to keep him, but where does he go?
Well, according to I've lost it. Yahoo Sports. Yep. They're saying that the Predators are among the clubs to have interest in Rick Nash and Evander Kane.
I think you'll find a lot of teams interested. A lot of the teams will have interest in both of those players because
they will.
They're similar players. They're both big physical guys. However, Kane does have more offensive upside at this time in his career, at this moment in time. However, he's got off-ice problems. So, does a team go, you know what, we'll put that in the past, we'll say, as long as he doesn't do anything like that with us, he can help us win a cup? Or do they go, we don't need that when we're in the Stanley Cup Finals, one game down? You know?
Yeah, Andy and 420 Blaze don't think he'll go to the Pens. Total Carnage says he'll go to Dallas.
I think that's Rick Nash for that one.
Ah, yeah, right.
Which could happen.
Yeah, I mean, this season, 53 games played, 16 goals, 20 assists, 36
so less
points
than 20
for
games
Evander
left
Kane.
in the season.
So less than 30. And
you're right.
36 points.
Who's that, Nash
and, I mean,
or Kane?
No, that's Evander Kane.
Okay.
But, I mean, he took 19 penalty minutes against Florida last week.
I wouldn't want Evander Kane on my team. That's for sure. I wouldn't want Evander Kane on my team. I could see. So Andy T's just asked what's Evander Kane's worth. Apparently they wanted Buffalo originally for Kane wanted 4 different items. I think they wanted a first-round pick, a prospect, or 2 prospects, and a roster player. I think, is what they wanted. And all of the GMs in the National Hockey League went, no, that's far too much.
It's like, why would we do that?
Like, Evander Kane has played well on a really bad Buffalo team. Like, I take that with a pinch of salt. And I think that's what NHL GMs are doing. They're going, Evander Kane, I'm not so sure about that because he's played well on a bad team. Like, Jack Eichel's played well on a bad team. Like, you have players that have played well on Buffalo, but the whole team hasn't played very well, and that's where the problem lies. So, Evander Kane, like, he's definitely being traded. He's played well ever since he came to Buffalo. Like, he's done a good job. However, I see Kane going to a contender. I just don't know which one. It could be a Nashville, it could be a Winnipeg, it could be a Dallas, it could be a Pittsburgh. It could be any one of those teams. I don't know which one specifically he's going to go to because I haven't really seen any huge interest from one party.
No, I mean, I haven't either. But, I mean, you don't know. I mean, with the NHL, things just kind of turn up last minute and they just appear. And it's like, well, okay, weren't expecting that one.
No, exactly. It could be I expect Buffalo will want as many prospects and picks as possible from this trade. As we said, Evander Kane is one of the only players that have played well on the Buffalo roster this year. And they're looking to the future, obviously. They're in a rebuild. They might have Jack Eichel. They might have Ryan O'Reilly. They have Robin Lehner, who's still a very streaky goaltender. They have some good pieces there, just not enough. So they need to go through that system of drafting their players and signing key free agents that will be around for a long time. So I don't know where Evander Kane's going to go. But if I have to take a guess, I'm going to say the Penguins, because they're the only team that have expressed a noticeable interest in him at the moment. That might change as time goes on.
Yeah, well, the chat's saying quite a lot with Total Carnage and Andy, the Coyotes, because doesn't Domi want out of the Coyotes?
Yes, well, Domi doesn't want out of the Coyotes, I don't think. Well, I mean, anybody would want out of the Coyotes, let's be honest. But it's more that he's on the trading block because he just hasn't lived up to the hype, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
I think. Could you look up the stats of Anthony Duclair ever since he's been in Chicago?
Yeah.
Because I want to see the difference in his production from the start of the season to the end of the season. Because Max Domi is in a very similar situation to what Anthony Duclair was in. Max Domi didn't get sent down to the minors at any point over the last few years. But I very much think that Max Domi, he could be traded anywhere. He's a pretty serviceable player. He just hasn't had the support that he's needed in Arizona. Like that's why players run as far as possible whenever the name Arizona gets brought up. Like, I know I'm shitting on Arizona a huge amount tonight, but they're just not a good hockey team. They're one of the lowest spending teams in the National Hockey League. They have been for a while. They have an arena that doesn't actually want them there anymore. Like, there's talks every year about, are they going to finally relocate? And then they never do. And then it happens again and again and again. And the players hate playing there, and the team hates winning there. Like, it just that whole situation needs to be sorted out.
Okay, Duclair at Arizona, 33 games, 15 points.
Right.
And Duclair at Chicago, 10 games, 5 points.
Okay, so a point every 2 games. He's playing a lesser role on the Chicago Blackhawks lineup, I would assume. But, I mean, Chicago haven't been a very strong team either this year. But they've been better than Arizona. So he's converted. What was the first stat you said, sorry?
The Arizona, 33 games, 15 points.
Okay, so he's still servicing the same sort of 2 points a game average.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But, I think Max Domi could go to any number of teams. He's still young enough that he could be considered a roster player. He's young enough that he could be considered a top 6 guy. He's got a lot of potential upside that he still needs to realise. And he's not going to realise that in Arizona. And if he wants out, I do not blame him whatsoever. I do not blame Max Domi for wanting out of Arizona if those rumours are true. Like, fair play to him.
Yeah. Should we talk about Alexander Burrows?
Yeah, so this is the last topic we're going to talk about today. Where do you think Max Domi's going, and where do you think what's his name, Evander Kane's going? I know there is some talk in the chat, but do let us know in the chat. We will keep looking at it as the stream goes on, but we've got to make sure that we keep things going. We've got lots of topics to talk about.
We had like 5 topics we wanted to talk about. We'll be here till like 9:30 if we keep going at this schedule. So. Yeah, exactly. We'll run through them a bit faster.
Yeah, well, we can always come back to topics, so that's fine. So, because this is a podcast about the hockey world as a whole, not just the NHL. Although I do love to talk about the NHL. So
really, I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, you know. The Alexander Burrows suspension. So, for those of you who don't know, recently in a game between the Ottawa Senators and the New Jersey Devils, Alexander Burrows was suspended for 10 games by the NHL's Department of Player Safety for kneeing Taylor Hall in the face and for instigating a fight. I think that's what the call was. It was instigation and kneeing, which isn't the sort of call that you hear very often anymore. I would show the thingamabob, the suspension. However, I don't want this to be taken down for monetization. YouTube will do that anyway. So, go and look it up while we're talking if you want to take a look at what actually happened. I'm just trying to find exactly what was said.
Yeah, I'm just finding the...
Here we go. So, suspended for 10 games. for serving as the aggressor in an altercation and kneeing New Jersey Devils forward Taylor Hall. So essentially, the whole situation was that Taylor Hall landed a massive hit on Alexander Burrows in the Ottawa Senators zone. It was a clean hit. It was an absolutely clean hit. There was no problems with it whatsoever. But Alexander Burrows didn't like it and decided to cross-check him, decided to push him. Then when the whistle was called, he went behind him and started punching him in the face, took him to the ice and started punching him some more. He's been suspended 10 games. My short but sweet response, good riddance. What do you think, Chris?
Yep. So incident occurred at 10:02 of the second period. He was only assessed 2 minors at the time, one for the cross-checking and one for the roughing. It was, and under the terms of the collective bargaining agreement and based on his annual average salary, he will also forfeit $134,500.
Wow.
Which will go to the Players' Emergency Assistance Fund.
What do you think about the whole thing, Chris?
I watched it on my lunch break today, and it was absolutely disgusting.
It was, wasn't it?
Absolutely disgusting.
Like,
there's
just
no place for it at all. I mean, yes, okay, he fell on, he landed on top of him. If you're a gent, when you're fighting in ice hockey, you stop. He didn't. He kept kneeing him in the back of the head, which, yes, he had a helmet on, but the back of the head is a very vulnerable area.
And he took him to the ice and started punching him down there.
The ice, yeah. What made it worse, especially with the roughing penalty and the instigating, is that it was a clean hit, and they carried on, and he just went chasing after him.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a certain incident over here as well, involving a team in orange.
Who shall not be named. So I definitely think that it was a disgusting thing to happen.
Oh, yeah.
I would have completely agreed with the Department of Player Safety if they had wanted to suspend him for more games. I think 10 is a fair amount of games for what's going on, although it could have been more. I very much think that the NHL is trying to get rid of plays like this, and then they give him a double minor. Like, what's that? Kick him out the game. Like, he's specifically endangered a player who made a clean hit on him. Like, we're now getting to the point where you can't even hit players in the game, let alone fighting.
Now, are we going to... Now, I know you're not a football fan.
No, not at all.
But surely you've seen in the news about the video assistant referee.
Which one?
That's come in. Well, the fact it's come in.
No, I haven't actually seen about that, no.
Okay, right. Do you know, like, the third official in rugby and cricket and all of that, where they can review stuff? Yeah. Well, they've started doing the same thing in football, and basically, in this one, in football, if the person watching it on the screen sees something the referee misses, they can tell the referee to stop the game and review it, and they should do that in ice hockey.
Well,
because if Toronto saw that, they'd have kicked him out.
Yeah, well, definitely, because it's Ottawa. But I also think my response to that, sure, but there's 4 officials on the ice that all saw that. There's 2 linesmen and 2 referees. If they can't do their job and get him out of the game, like, if they'd just given him a couple of cross-checks, send him to the box, that's fine. The majority of NHL players cross-check other players, especially when they're in front of the net. However, he took him down to the ice and started punching him while he was down there. And Taylor Hall did not respond at all.
It's not as if it was in the game and none of them were watching it because it was off the puck. It was after the whistle had gone. The players were all in a scrum. They were all looking at it.
Yeah, exactly. Like Taylor Hall did not throw one punch at all to Alexander Burrows. When they were down on the ice...
It was a clean...
Like, when they were down on the ice, Taylor Hall was saying, "Get this guy off me," or, like, whatever. I don't know exactly what he said. But he was talking to the referee, like, "Get this guy off me." Like, what's he doing? We're now in the situation where players are being assaulted for no reason because they laid a clean hit. Forget about fighting. Forget about, oh, well, I'm not sure these guys should be fighting. Fighting's gone down in the league. It still happens, but it's gone down. It's a rarity nowadays if you get a fight a game, which is fine. Take it or leave it. Like, that's the situation we're in nowadays. You may agree, you may disagree. That's not the point that we're talking about right now. The problem is that we're now in the situation where players are going and taking the law into their own hands and going and attacking another player just because he laid a clean hit on him. If you can't take the hit, get off the ice. Where you gone, Chris? You gone quiet on me. Where you gone? Chris! I can't hear you. I can... Okay, so Chris has kind of disappeared. He's still on the screen, but I just can't hear a word he's saying. Have you unplugged your headset or something? Ripping pepperonis, Chris. Right, this is me. I'm gonna have to hold down the fort. Oh well, Chris is still here, so that's good. We just can't hear him. Oh wait.
Right, hang on.
There you go. Wait, you're gone again.
Okay.
There you go.
What?
There, you're here.
Okay, I'm back.
Hello, hi Chris.
I did the British thing of turning it off and on again.
Ah, okay, good. Right. So where was I? Anyway.
I was saying,
okay, go.
where does playing the game then turn into breaking the law? Because in law, you can't just go and punch somebody, floor them to the ground, and hit them in the back of the head.
That's exactly where it turns. Like, yeah, I think you've answered your own question there.
When the whistle stops and the game is no longer being played,
yeah,
you know, the game and the law is getting into.
Well, I mean, even before the whistle was called, he was going and trying to cross-check him and instigate. Yeah. Like, even before the whistle had gone, like there was all that stuff going on. I think, being the NHL genius that I am, obviously, I think the solution to this problem is they need to really, really over-suspend players for doing it, then it won't happen. If somebody gets a 30-game suspension for doing this, then they won't do it. But
10 games in the NHL is what, a couple of weeks, 3 weeks?
Well, I mean that's half of the rest of the season. But I mean, the season's over after the season.
You get a 2-3 week holiday, don't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, you miss 130 grand or whatever, but if you're getting paid $4 million a year, like...
I was going to say, that's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I think Alexander Burrows is very much like a Brad Marchand breed of hockey player. They have upside, but they let it get lost with loads of shit that they do. NHL, I'm pleading to you here, NHL, if an NHL official happens to be listening in our pilot podcast, you've got to sort this shit out. Like you've been wanting to get headshots and stuff taken out of the game, but you don't suspend players for doing them. You want to get plays like this taken out of the game where players are going for loads of stuff after the whistle, and you only suspend them 10 games. Like Alexander Burrows, that's nothing for him.
Yeah. But they need to clamp down on it. But
yes, they need to clamp down on a lot of bloody stuff in this league, but they don't.
They really do.
With the way the game's being played, we should see suspensions every week, like the Elite Ice Hockey League. With the way some of these players play the game, that's how it should be going. Like, suspensions are a rarity in the NHL. You don't get them very often. You might get, 9 or 10 in a season. And that might only be, 1 or 2 game suspensions. But let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, let us know
what you think. You've already been doing it. That's great. We'll highlight some of them. They've been trying to get rid of dirty plays for years and haven't done shit about it. NHL needs to man up. Damn right, son. You're absolutely right. Should have been more games.
Hayden is not. There is no Ofcom regulations in this. No, Hayden does not care.
Why should there be? It's my channel. I can say what I want. Should have been more games. He's a prick. Yeah. Burrows is a scumbag. Yeah. So that's the NHL today. We've had a little chat about the NHL for the first 40 minutes of this podcast. So any NHL stuff, if we have any time at the end, leave us a question or whatever, and we'll go into it if we have time. However, let's move across the pond. Where should we go next, Chris?
Let's get to the Elite League. Let's come our way.
Here we go. So, for those of you who don't follow...
Corey out.
Yeah. For those of you who don't follow the Elite League, yesterday So every season, the Elite Ice Hockey League has the Challenge Cup, which is basically the domestic cup, where it's separate from the regular season, it's separate from the playoffs. It's an extra piece of hardware that teams can win during the season. Yesterday, they had the second leg of the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup. It was basically they do it 2 games, and whoever has the best aggregate score, so the goals are combined from both games to see who goes through to the final. The final has now been decided. The final will be, this is a spoiler in case anybody didn't know, the final is now between the Belfast Giants and the reigning champion Cardiff Devils. So they're both back there.
Who have the final on home rink.
Yeah, exactly. They've got the final on home rink. What more could you ask for? I think you should take this because I'm going to get a little bit heated in this. So I think you should get your general stuff out of the way. But first, before we do, let me just tell you the scores and how it went down. So,
yes, let's do that.
So the
For anyone who doesn't know, Oddman Rush watched the Giants Panthers game, hence why he's going to be quiet while I round up before he goes rage.
That was not a fun game to watch. Well, it was until near the end of the second period, but we'll get into that. So, there was a game between the Belfast Giants and the Nottingham Panthers at the SSE Arena. The aggregate going into the game was 5-1 in favour of the Belfast Giants because they won the first game 5-1. And after coming 1 goal away from tying the series aggregate, the Nottingham Panthers lost and the Belfast Giants secured the win at the end of the second and the third period by winning the game 7-6, meaning the aggregate was 12-7 in favour of the Belfast Giants. So that was the first game. We'll talk about each game individually, but then
we will.
And then the other semi-final leg was between the Cardiff Devils and the Sheffield Steelers. And the Sheffield Steelers were 6-2 up after the first leg. Is that right?
I think there was something like that.
Right. Yeah, I think that's right.
I think it was 6-2.
Yeah. So the first leg, which was in Sheffield, was a 6-2 win for the Sheffield Steelers. Then the second leg took place last night, and one team could manage the upset and the comeback, so that's good. With the Cardiff Devils, they had a weak first leg, but they bounced back against an injured Sheffield team. They had 5 of their top 6 out, let's be honest. I looked at their injury list and I was like, oh my god, that's a lot of players.
6-2 up and lost 7-1.
Yeah. The Cardiff Devils won the game 7-1, and that meant that they took the series aggregate 9-7, so they are going to play on home ice. They returned to the final to play the Belfast Giants. Right, Chris, which one do you want to talk about first? And I'll let you start.
Let's talk about the good game from our point of view, which was the upset of the Devils against the Steelers.
Okay.
Top of the table, Devils. Yeah, okay, the Steelers were injured, but they come out and win 7-1. I mean, to overturn a 4-goal deficit at the end of the first leg is very impressive.
And then add 2 more goals.
Yeah.
They didn't just tie it,
and then
they went and demolished the lead.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there was very much 2 sides with both of these stories. Both of them where the team came back to within 1 goal. One of the teams managed to keep that going, and another team fell at the last hurdle, essentially. So
I didn't watch the Panthers-Giants game because I was watching the football.
Okay.
But I had you giving me regular score updates, and when I say regular, they were very regular.
They were every stoppage to play, mate. Every stoppage to play.
Well, that's just when the goals were.
Yeah.
Because the goals happened so frequently.
Well, there were 13 goals in that game.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's just ridiculous. That's like a goal every 6 minutes or whatever. Like that's crazy. So the Cardiff Devils, the way I think about this, anytime Ben Bounds is on fire, the Cardiff Devils have a chance to win. I mean, they didn't just win the game. They weren't looking for, we'll win the game and we'll get back some dignity and we'll make the aggregate close, but we won't make it because of a weak first leg. They went, no, we're actually going to go and win this game. We know that Sheffield have an injured lineup, but we're going to go and make sure we get the job done regardless, and they did. I mean, it sucks, we've got a couple of Sheffield Steelers fans in the chat tonight. It sucks that that's the situation for Sheffield. However, you were 4 goals up. You should have taken the Belfast Giants situation. 1 goal down, and then they managed to come back and score 1 billion goals on the Nottingham Panthers. It's just... Well played by the Cardiff Devils. It sucks that the Sheffield Steelers are in that situation. However, like, I don't think they need to worry. They went to the final last year. They won the playoffs last year. They could win the playoffs this year. Like, you've got plenty of hardware, Sheffield. Don't worry about it.
I mean, like you say, Bound's on fire. And I mean, having the Devils back line in front of him has definitely helped.
Yeah.
But he's been on fire for the last couple of seasons because he really helped GB as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the Cardiff Devils are at the top of the league. They won the league title last year. They won the Challenge Cup last year. They were in the final of the playoffs last year. And that's mostly because of Ben Bounds. Like, he's a solid goaltender.
Yeah, 420 Blaze, you got it right. Best goal in the league last year and this year. Definitely.
Damn right. Right.
The league is interesting because there's been a lot of league news, hasn't there? And about the new, well, I say new playoff format. The playoff format in particular has caused quite a storm on social media.
So basically, pointless playoff format, I'd like to add.
So there's 12 teams. The top 8 get into the playoffs.
Yep.
Makes sense. The league leaders take rank number 1, and everyone else files in behind. And first place 8th, second place 7th, third place 6th, etc.
Yep.
Apart from if, and it's not actually going to be a factor at the moment, but it may well be by the time all the games in hand have been played and all the rest of it.
Yep.
Is that if a conference winner finishes outside of the top 8, so at the moment, Dundee, Coventry, Milton Keynes and Edinburgh, if one of them win their conference, okay, let's discount Edinburgh. If Dundee, Coventry or MK win their conference but stay outside the top 8, they get promoted into the top 8. But they don't get promoted into second for winning their conference. They get promoted into 8th and knock out, at the moment, the Brayhead clan. So if Dundee go on a brilliant run at the end of the season but still miss out on top 8, win their conference, their reward is Cardiff at the moment. It's not really much of a reward, is it, to come up against the Devils?
Yeah, this conference system's bollocks, really.
I think it's 1, 2, 3, unless the league leaders don't win their conference, in which case the conference
if you're
goes 2, 3, 4.
not going to do the conference system properly, don't have it in the league.
Yeah.
What they
do the conference season to try and keep the costs down, so the local teams play each other, travel costs, all the rest of it.
Yeah, like.
But
here's my solution. Here's my solution to this problem. You go one of two ways. You go one, you scrap the conference system. You can keep the schedule very similar. That they play the closest teams the most amount. That has nothing to do with the conferences. Like, you can have that whatever you want. You scrap the conferences and you go right. 1st to 8th gets in. And it goes 1 versus 8, 2 v 7th, etc., etc. Fine, that's not a problem. Just do that. Or you go conference winners. Whoever has the most points out of each conference goes first. Then next is second. Then after that is third. And then everybody else that has the next most points fill 4th.
That makes sense to me. That's the one that makes sense to me. I agree with if the league winners for some reason don't win the conference, they go number 1.
But the league winners, of course, are going to win their conference.
Not necessarily.
Not
necessarily, because they could lose their conference games, but win every other game against the 8 teams in the other conferences, and they could come up 1 point short. I
completely forgot about that. That's stupid. That's bollocks. Like where you have where you played 10 games against the conference. No, that's not how conferences are done. Like, take the NHL conferences, for example. It's however many games that they've played, and it's how they're ranked overall from every single game that they've played, not the games that they've played just in the conference. Yeah. That's stupid. Don't do that.
But no, so that's the plan. But I mean, there's a lot of speculation. It's been changed so that the arena teams can get to the finals. That's the speculation.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that were the actual situation, because they're the teams that are going to help promote the sport the biggest.
Yeah,
whilst
but put it this way, at the moment, Panthers are playing Giants, and Giants get the choice of the leg. And based on what happened in the Challenge Cup semi-final, the Panthers won't be there.
Can we not do that? Like, can we get up to 4th and play Dundee or something, please? Or 5?
Now you see 5. Now I was going to bring 5 up. They're a dark horse this year.
I said they were a dark horse last year. You go back to my videos last year. I said 5.
That's true.
They are a dark horse team.
At the moment, they're in 4th, right? And they're 6 points off second. 5 games in hand.
5 games in hand.
They've got 5 games in hand over Belfast in second, and they're only 3 points behind. 6 points behind, sorry. 3 games behind.
Could go up very high in the league. Because they started off very slowly as well. When everybody had played like 10 games, they'd only played like 4 league games.
Yeah.
So I think Fife could break the top 3.
Oh, easy.
Given where they're at the moment, like, why not? I think they could... I don't think they'll win. It'd be awesome if they did, but I don't think they will. I think Cardiff will lock that down, no problem.
Yeah, what happened last... Oh, Fife made it to the playoff finals last time. Didn't they lose like 15-3 to Belfast in the third place game or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
It was really weird.
Yeah, well, it's because it was the third place game and neither team really cared what happened.
I can remember tweeting, are they playing with football goals? And loads of people liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Elite League this weekend, speaking of Fife, actually, Fife against Belfast at 7 o'clock on Friday night. Then on Saturday, we have got 5 games. We've got the Stars against the Clan. We've got the Steelers Panthers.
Oh.
The Flames Storm, the Devils against the Lightning, and the Blaze against the Flyers.
The Lightning
and then
have really dropped off recently.
They have. They had a really good start and they've dropped off.
Yeah.
And then all 6 in action on Sunday. Manchester Belfast, Braehead Dundee, Milton Keynes Coventry, Sheffield Guildford, Nottingham Cardiff. And
Nottingham are fucked this weekend. They're so fucked.
Really are. Sheffield and Cardiff. It's Sheffield at the Motor Point and then Cardiff in Wales. So, yeah.
So, we haven't actually talked about the Belfast-Nottingham lineup. Right.
15-8, yes, thank you, 420 Blaze. I can remember it was...
Odd Man Rush is going into rant mode. Is everyone ready?
Yes, right.
So,
Odd Man, go.
The Belfast-Nottingham game. That was a load of bollocks.
I'm laughing already.
It was absolutely a load of bloody stinking bollocks. And here's why. The coaching was shit. The goaltending was shit. The defense was shit. The offense was actually pretty good. But the problem is, in a hockey game, you can score as many bloody goals as you want. But if you can't keep them at your own fucking net, then there's no point. Like, it was 7-6, the game.
Odd man rant. Yes, mid-game. Odd man rant.
Damn right, odd man rant. Like,
Hutchinson of the Jets diagnosed with a concussion. Wow.
Oh, shit.
We'll come back to that.
Back on topic, guys. Shut up. I'm talking now. So
everyone be quiet.
Yeah, shut your traps.
Odd man's ranting.
So the Nottingham Panthers did a really good job in the first and the second period, coming one goal away from making it to tying up the bloody aggregate, and then they fucked it all up and threw it all away. Like, what's the point? If you're not gonna tie the aggregate, don't bother. The problem was the Belfast Giants, when it was one goal, like 7-6 on aggregate, or whatever the bloody hell it was, I don't care. Whenever there was one goal, when it became that one goal difference, Adam O'Keefe took a timeout with the Belfast Giants. They went on to score like 6 goals in the game. Like, I've seen loads of people tweeting like, oh, the Nottingham Panthers, they tried really hard and I'm really happy with the result. Like, the weak first leg was really bad. You're damn right. You are damn right. I mean, we can only see... There you go, that's better. Like, oh, I mean, they gave it their all. They left it all out on the ice. No, they didn't leave it all out on the ice. The Nottingham Panthers 100% had the opportunity to be able to win that game, and they threw it all away.
This is my version of a disclaimer.
Yeah, you know, just what I saw on Twitter, like, oh god, I mean, they left it all out on the ice. They tried their best. They tried to.
Oh, he's
come
proud
back
of them
and gave it a good fight. I'm so proud of my Panthers. Don't be. What? You're proud of the Panthers because they got one goal to tying it and then lost? I'm not proud of the Panthers for that. Like, oh, I'm so proud that the Arizona Coyotes came in last place in the league. Like, it's a professional sports team. You're not supposed to lose. And, like, this might be a controversial opinion between the Elite Ice Hockey League people. Yes, brilliant. This might be a like, oh, guys, bashing his team, or, oh, like, oh, you can't say things like that, Odd Man Rush. Well, first of all, you're damn right I can say this stuff. It's my channel. But second of all, like, I just don't understand why people can be so happy that a team lost. Oh, but Odd Man Rush, they were 5-1 down after the first leg. So, like, they were 1 goal away. 1 goal away from tying up the aggregate. And they couldn't do it. Because they suck. Because the team that they have made this year sucks. Like, there's some good players. Robert Farmer has gone completely ice cold. I'm calling him out on it because I don't think I've seen him score a goal in about 3 months. Like, Robert Farmer, he was on fire at the start of the season. Where's he gone? He's just disappeared. We're relying on David Clark to score all of our goals. Like, he's 36 years old. Give him a break. Like, he's become the top point scorer in the Elite Ice Hockey League history ever. He deserves a break. Like,
can I just tip you over the edge now?
Go for it.
So, Corey Nielsen, discuss.
Oh, yeah, bloody hell. Corey Nielsen, he doesn't know how to coach the players that he's got in front of him. Like he did well at the Continental Cup last year. He did well in the Champions Hockey League this year. That means jack shit now. Like, you can't just go, oh, well, he did a brilliant job getting us through to the playoffs here. Let's keep him around for the next 5 years. Well, no.
Well, hang on. Let's not get too hasty with qualifying for the playoffs.
Well, exactly. I mean, like, the CHL playoffs is what I was talking about.
Oh,
like,
right, sorry, yeah.
We had the best CHL performance we've ever had. Oh, he's the best head coach ever in the league. Well, he's not. The Nottingham Panthers sit at, like, 6th in the league.
Was 7th.
Are they 7th?
Yeah, 7th.
Nottingham Panthers, listen here. With the amount of money that you have fielded a shit team this year. Like, whether it's a case of the head coach sucks and doesn't know what he's doing, whether it's a case of the players just don't care, whether it's a case of that they're just getting bad puck bounces, I don't care. Sort it out. Like, you're one of the highest spending teams in the entire Elite Ice Hockey League. And if you can't get past 7th, you were top of the league at one point this season. And you had, like, 2 games in hand. I heard.
Yeah, it was like, send him to Edinburgh. And if he makes Edinburgh win, then yeah, fine, he's a good coach. On their budget. But 420 Blaze, Nielsen lost the dressing room when the Panthers went on the 8-game losing run. Yeah, you're right.
He lost the fans as well then.
Yeah.
Like,
if this was football, he'd have gone months ago.
Yeah. If this was any other team except Edinburgh, he would have gone.
Yeah.
But because he got us to the Champions Hockey League playoffs, oh, he's a stud. No, he's not. He's not.
He's like Arsene Wenger.
Yeah, essentially.
Only still there. They've not won anything. Okay, they won the FA Cup, but they've not really won anything for ages.
Yeah.
But he's still there.
It just irritates me that there's so many good players on that roster.
Yeah.
But they play like such wank. Like, how do you manage that? That's like the Edmonton Oilers this season. They're basically the Edmonton Oilers of the EIHL this year. Yeah. They have Connor Bloody McDavid and they're missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. It's mad. It's mad. Final bit of Elite League news then before we move on to the CHL. The Belfast Giants, this was last night, they've launched an ICE Academy to help young people with experience of the care system. So 18 young people are going to be working with the support of Include Youth and Belfast Giants to build their skills and self-esteem. And basically, it sounds absolutely brilliant.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. Like, what better way to promote the sport and promote how the great stuff about hockey than by doing something like that? Like, yeah, perfect.
They're learning skills, building confidence, and they're learning how to play ice hockey with the Giants. I mean, it doesn't get much better.
I'd take it.
But, I mean, there's stuff like that. And then that's the variation of the league, isn't it? Is that you've got the Belfast Giants, who are doing loads of stuff like that, and then you've got teams, and it's sad to keep coming back, but like the Panthers, who, if anyone didn't see it at the start of this season, sued their own supporters club.
Shall we get into that?
No, I'm not getting into that.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm avoiding that because
Good call.
obviously of my position within
Of course,
Nottingham Ice
yeah,
Hockey.
no, that's fair enough.
So I'm avoiding that.
I think the Manchester Storm are another example. The Sheffield Steelers to an extent, but I think I have nothing but respect for the Belfast Giants organisation.
Yeah.
They've done some really good things for the Elite League.
The only problem I have with the Steelers, and it's more a kind of gripe that a lot of people have rather than anything specifically at them, is their influence on the board.
Yeah.
That's my only
strongly
issue.
dislike that. I am a fan of the Sheffield Steelers. They are one of my favourite Elite League teams next to Nottingham. You cannot have the owner of your team be the manager of the league.
Yeah.
Because then you're always going to assume that there's been some sort of meddling involved.
Well, yeah, I mean, and when things like this new playoff system, which hasn't been announced until just before the playoffs, and then you get to choose your own opponent in the Challenge Cup quarterfinals, which wasn't announced until they were ready to do it.
Or like a week before the selections were made.
But will it change? I mean, there is rumour of a TV deal, which will help as well. But
yeah, I mean, they were on Premier Sports a couple of years ago, weren't they? They showed like a game or two every week.
And the playoff final used to be on Sky Sports, and the Challenge Cup final was on BBC Sport Online a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it was on BBC Sport last year. I watched that. That's how I watched it last year.
Yeah, it was the Panthers Devils 2 years ago. I watched it in my university hall's kitchen, and it went to overtime, and then Evan Mosey scored, and I nearly hit the ceiling.
Evan Mosey! What a top-notch geezer he is.
But yeah, right. Should we round up the Champions Hockey League?
Yes. So let me just give us a good segue. The Nottingham Panthers, they did well in the Champions Hockey League, but since then they've been utter shite. Speaking of the Champions Hockey League,
and we couldn't even win goal of the season.
Exactly. Oh, what, did we come second in that as well?
We came second. We got annihilated in that. We lost 78% to 22.
I mean, considering we managed to get to the final of Goal of the Year, like,
yeah, I know.
That's the
72-28.
That's the best thing the Panthers have done all season. That's the only final they're going to see this year.
Yeah, but the Lakers lost.
Yes. Now,
on home ice.
I had a little watch. So this is the Champions Hockey League final. That took place on Tuesday, for those of you who either watched on Free Sports in the UK or didn't have the chance to watch it. The Champions Hockey League final to crown the champions of Europe. So I watched a video afterwards from the Vaksher Lakers, and that's how you pronounce it. I always thought it was Vaksho, but it's actually Vaksher.
I just call them the Lakers, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just briefly, MLG Gamer, did you guys talk about the NHL? Yes, we did at the start.
Yes, we did.
At the end of this podcast, you'll be able to go back and listen to that bit.
Yeah, or we'll have like a quick fire round where you can send in some questions and we'll answer.
Yeah, we'll round up.
So the CHL final, it was between JYP, or some people have pronounced it as Yip, but I call it JYP. JYP, and here you go. Here's your best pronunciation of a Finnish word of the day. JYP Jyväskylä. There you go. Took me a couple of tries on Google Translate to get that one. JYP Jyväskylä, the Finnish team from the Finnish La Liga side, against the Vaksher Lakers of the Swedish Hockey League. Now, this is the Champions Hockey League has been going for 4 seasons now, and every single season there has been a Swedish Hockey League team in the final. But this was the first year that the Frölunda Indians of the Swedish Hockey League had not been in the final. It's been going for 4 years. 3 of the 4 years they have either won it, they won it the last 2 times, or they've been in the final, which was the first year. And every single year a Swedish team has won the Champions Hockey League. Until this year, when JYP Jyväskylä won 2-0 in Vaksher in the, I think it was Vida Arena, home of the Vaksher Lakers. And the JYP, they became the first Finnish team to win the Champions Hockey League and be crowned champions of Europe.
The Brits were at the final, sort of. We were there, sort of. two Welsh students, actually from my old university and pretty much my course as well. The University of South Wales. We're there because it was Rachel was the fan ambassador for the Cardiff Devils. I like the most of our journalistic work is based around ice hockey. I actually got told off several times during my university for making all my assignments about sport. They made me do other stuff.
All right, I want to talk about the Cardiff Devils, and you ain't got a choice. I'll get Ben Bounds to beat you up.
It was a story, but it was all sport, and eventually I got told off. But there you go. I was told I wasn't allowed to do sport. I had to do it on something else. But yeah, I mean, I caught you. You watched the first two periods, and I watched the last period. So between us, we've got the entire game.
Between us, we have the whole match experience. I must admit, I had no vested interest in either team that was playing, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. That's actually one compared to so I was watching some of the Bruins Rangers last night, and I was watching that game. I didn't enjoy it, not because the Rangers were losing, nothing like that, but as I was watching it, it just felt far too formulaic and far too structured. Maybe that's because I've watched so much NHL, and that's the standard that I've become used to. I was watching the CHL final on Tuesday, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's some of the most interesting hockey I've watched in quite a long time.
I think when you watch so much of one league, so much of the NHL or so much of the Elite League or whatever, obviously each league has its own kind of style of play, and to watch a completely different style of play was really quite refreshing.
I think quite a lot of those players that played in the CHL final could easily rival some of those NHL players in speed. That was a fast game, especially in the first period. It really
was.
That was a quick game with some quick skaters there. But in terms of the box score itself, it was no score after the first period, although Vaksha had quite a lot of the opportunities. I've done a video on it, so if you want the complete details, go and watch that. It needs views. Then in the second period, JYP opened the scoring with a goal by Natinen, I believe. And then in the...
empty net goal.
Then there was an empty net goal in the last minute of the third period to
from
make
their
it
own
a 2-0
face-off
game.
Dot.
What's that?
Their own face-off dot. It went 180 odd feet.
Yeah.
From Janne Kolemainen.
Yeah, Kolemainen or something like that. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So this is also the first time that a goaltender has recorded a shutout in the Champions Hockey League final. So more history being made. Now I guess the focus turns to next year's Champions Hockey League. JYP and Vaksha, I assume, will automatically be there because they made the final.
If Cardiff win the league, they'll be there.
Yep.
That'll be it.
And then it's the playoff winner, isn't it?
No, playoff winner goes Conti.
That's it. And then it was the winner of the Continental Cup goes. Yeah, you're right.
Which was why the Panthers were in this year.
Yeah, that's right. So there was also another team that has been announced for next year's competition. I think the Czech League has already played its... got a league winner.
Yeah.
Let me just check this.
Okay, you check this. I'll also go towards kind of rounding up the CHL before we move on to the Olympics. But yeah, so are they changing the format next year? I don't think they are. So it'll be the same format as...
the only thing that I think they could is how many teams they have.
Yeah.
Because that got reduced this year, I believe.
Yeah. Because didn't they decide there were too many or something? Too many games.
I think they used to have... I'm thinking 36 to 40 or something. This year they had 32, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, where is this? It's here somewhere.
He's lost it completely.
Here we go. HC Skoda Plzeň.
All right.
They are from the Czech League.
Okay.
It's the second time in the CHL's history that they are going to the CHL. So, awesome. Congrats to them.
Yeah.
JYP definitely will be there because they...
Yeah.
Because they won. But anyway, so yeah, Champions
Hockey
League's over.
Who won the Continental Cup? That's been done, hasn't it?
Oh shit, yeah, you're right. I know, it wasn't the Sheffield Steelers.
For anyone who... basically, we came up with this idea Tuesday lunchtime.
1 sec,
and...
let me go get my Continental Cup trophy. I've got it right here.
What the? We came up with this idea on Tuesday lunchtime, and
Got my
I've been at
Continental
work, so
Cup
we've not.
trophy.
What?
Here it is.
I've not seen this yet. What is
the
this?
Continental Cup. It's actually.
Is that one of those Tesco?
It's a party on foil platter. Actually.
It was the Ruined Dragons. Won the Continental Cup.
Who?
The Ruined Dragons.
Where are they from?
France.
Are they?
Rouen are from France, yeah.
Oh, it's probably how you pronounced it. Sorry.
Oh, probably, yeah. There's a racetrack there. That's how I know it.
Ah, okay. So, because they had a French team in this year as well, so might have 2 French teams in. Nice. Fair play to them. France is not exactly the biggest hockey destination.
Didn't you take a picture of that foil tray and send it to the Steelers?
Yeah. Love it. Sorry, Sheffield fans. Don't want to get you triggered.
Yeah.
But,
sorry, El Brammer, if you're still here.
Yeah, because didn't
MLG Gamer.
Yeah.
I don't like how players get mad over clean hits in the NHL. Yeah, we'll recap at the end. We need to speed up because we've been going an hour and 10.
We've been going for over an hour now. So let's move on to the Winter Olympics.
Winter Olympics, yes. Right. There are 3 groups of 4 in the men's game. Group A, Canada, Czech Republic, South Korea, or Republic of Korea, and Switzerland.
Well, that's a
Group
bloody
B.
easy group for Canada. Jesus! Wow!
Group B, Olympic athletes from Russia,
Woo!
Slovenia, Slovakia, and the United States.
That's the toughest group.
And then
that is the toughest
Group C, Finland, Germany, Norway, and Sweden. Now, the way it works is that everyone plays everyone else in the group once, and the top 2 qualify for the quarterfinals, along with the 2 best losers.
The 2 best losers? Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
To make the 8.
So, just recap that Group A for me again.
Canada.
Yep.
Czech Republic.
Right.
South Korea.
Right.
And Switzerland.
Right. Chris, who do you think's going to go through Group A?
I'm going to take a punt at Korea. No, Canada.
Yeah. I mean, so it's
Canada and Czech Republic.
I think it'll be between Czech Republic and Switzerland. I mean, Switzerland aren't the strongest hockey country. But, yeah. Or is it Czechia? Has it been called Czechia now? The Czech Republic? Because they got that changed, didn't they?
It's the Czech Republic.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, I know what you mean.
I think it's Czechia.
Yeah, it's something along those lines.
So Group A, I don't think it's any argument who's going through. It's Canada and Czechia, without a doubt. Like Switzerland, maybe they might fit into one of those loser categories. However, some of the other groups, that is by far the easiest group that Canada could have had. Like,
oh yeah,
they
well, it's seeded, isn't it? Because they made them avoid the US and Sweden and whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Until the end.
Right. So we'll do each group individually. So let us know in the chat who you think's going to go through Group A. Group B. Read them out again.
Okay, it's Olympic athletes from Russia.
Right. We'll just call them Russia.
All right.
Because that's what
Slovenia.
they are. Okay.
Yeah, Slovenia, Slovakia, and the US.
Russia and the US. Who do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I think one of Slovenia or Slovakia might well go through as a best loser.
Yeah. I just don't think you couldn't argue anything else. Like, the US obviously have been the most impacted team by the NHL not taking part, but Slovenia and Slovakia, like, not a problem. Not a problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think, but who do you think's going to take the top of that group?
I think US will, because the Olympic athletes from Russia aren't really a team, are they? Because they're only ones. They're just ones that have been put together because they're clean.
You say that, but I have actually looked at the Olympic athlete from Russia roster, and it is
actually, yeah, I have as well.
Stacked. That is a stacked roster. I very much said this season that I wanted to take a look at a lot of other ice hockey leagues, and the KHL has been one of them. And I've been repping Pavel Datsuk's team, SKA St. Petersburg,
Oh yeah.
Basically, half of the roster has come from St. Petersburg, and I'm not bloody surprised because they have been an outstanding team this season.
420 Blades. Be nice if GB could make the Winter Olympics 1 year in my lifetime.
Well, they're getting close.
They're getting close. They're only, what, 1 tier below now?
Yep, they're 1 tier below. They're in 1A.
Is Vladimir Putin on the Russia list? No, he's not. It's a surprise,
well, he might find his way on
MLG claim he's not.
So, the Russia roster is stacked full. They're the team that have benefited the most from the NHL not taking part. Because they have a roster full. They have Datsuk, they have Kovalchuk, they have Nikita Gutsev, they have Igor Shesterstorin or whatever his bloody name is, the Rangers prospect. He's played for St. Petersburg as well, and he's had a fantastic season. They've also got Sergei Moiseikin. This is his first Winter Olympics appearance, I believe. He's the all-time KHL leader in goals, points, etc., etc. Recently signed a 2-year extension with Metallurg Magnitogorsk. They've also got players such as Nikita Gusev, who is a Vegas Golden Knights prospect. He got drafted by Florida and sent over, and he's had an astounding season. He's been one of SCAR's best players throughout the entire year. I think that Russia will take the first spot in this group. I think USA will take the second. I don't think there's any denying that, because they've got a pretty solid roster, less experienced, but still a solid roster considering. Compared to some of the lower teams. But I definitely think that Team Russia, or Olympic athletes from Russia, they're getting the first spot. They're getting the first spot. I could see them winning the whole tournament.
Yeah. Chris Brown, evening. How are you
doing?
Glad you could join us. He says Group A, Canada, Czech Republic. Group B, USA, Russia.
Switch them round in Group B, and you're right. Group C, take us through it.
Group C, we've got the Nordic teams, Finland, Norway, and Sweden, joined by Germany.
I think those three, the first three, the Nordic teams, will all go through.
I think Sweden and Finland as qualifications, and Norway as a... Although, to be fair, you say that, but if Norway lose to Finland and Sweden but beat Germany and they've only got 1 win under their belts, they may not necessarily get a 3rd place.
Do you know how many NHLers are from Norway?
Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
No, I'm genuinely curious. Do you know how many NHLers are from Norway? Like 2. At the moment. Matt Zuccarello and Andreas Martinsson. They're the 2 big ones anyway. So, Norway... So they play each team once. If Sweden win every single one of their games...
Sweden have got Henrik's brother.
Yeah, Joel Lundqvist, captain for Frölunda. I think Sweden will win all of the games in their group. So it's 3 wins, right? Because there's 4 teams in each group, right?
Yeah.
So there'll be 3 wins for Sweden. There'll be 2 wins and a loss for Finland, because they'll beat Norway and Germany. Then Norway will beat Germany, and Germany won't win any.
That's what I'm saying. If Norway only have the 1 win, especially if the 2 losses are in regulation, there's no guarantee they'll get through as the 3rd. Although, to be fair, they're more likely to, they're probably more likely to win. But, I mean, it's going to come down on goals scored and stuff in that 3rd place.
So we figured out which teams we think are going to go through with the 1st and 2nd. We need to find those extra 2 teams then. So the best losers. So take us through Group 1 again. It's Canada.
Well, you've put Canada and Czech Republic through, so Switzerland are going to come 3rd.
Yeah, Switzerland are going to come 3rd. Yep, I could see that.
Group 2, Slovenia, Slovakia.
Okay. Slovakia, maybe.
And then Group 3 is Norway and Germany.
Well, I think it's going to be, for the final 2 spots, it's going to be between Slovenia, Slovakia, Norway, and Switzerland. And I think Switzerland and Norway could take it, or Slovakia and Norway.
Okay.
That's how I'm going for it. What do you think?
Interesting. Obviously, until we know the groups, we don't know the brackets, so we can't really go into medals yet.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, we can have a long shot guess. But
well, I mean, we can, but like you say, you've got no idea on the...
Canada or Russia. There you go. I mean, looking at the rosters, looking at the talent they've got there, I mean, Canada, never count them out because they always find a way to get there. Russia,
Yeah.
they have a stacked team this year, and they're used to playing on a rink of this size. It's an Olympic-sized rink, which is what the KHL plays on. Because the NHL rinks are smaller. They're the North American rinks. So I expect Russia to make it to the final against Canada, and then whatever happens there, I don't know.
Yeah. Right. Briefly to round off then the women's tournament, we have Group A: Canada, Finland, Olympic athletes from Russia, and the US.
Wow.
Yeah, they put the big ones together because it works differently. It works slightly differently, the women's tournament.
I must admit, I don't know very much about the women's tournament.
And then in Group B is the combined Korea teams.
Oh, that's a brilliant story. I love that.
Yeah, it really is. Japan, Switzerland, and Sweden.
So there are only 2 groups?
There's only 2 groups. There's only 8 teams.
Okay.
Now,
yes, how
the
does
way
it work?
the way it works, and it's so the top 2 teams from each group go pretty much always almost into the semi-finals.
Oh, so they have like a bye week for the first round of the playoffs?
Sort of, but they have the rest of the teams keep playing. So they keep playing to get classified, finished 5th, finished 6th. So it's not a case of, oh, you're bottom of your group, you're out. They keep playing to get, oh, we finished 6th.
Okay.
So it's a strange one.
Right.
Because you finish 3rd in your group and then you play for 5th place. You don't just stop playing.
Why would you want to play for 5th place?
I don't know. I presume it's to fill the schedule a bit more, but
okay. Yeah.
It's because the way the bracket makes it look, it's really weird because especially on the Olympic website, because it has quarterfinal, semi-final, and final. But the 2 teams from the quarterfinal are automatically the 2 teams in the semi-final. It's a bit confusing.
Yeah. So it sounds like if you get the top of your group,
the top 2 in each group go into the quarterfinals, and I suspect that first in Group A plays second in Group B, and first in Group B plays second in Group A, because normally with the women's game, Canada and the US win their group, and then Canada will come first and USA will come second. They'll both beat Switzerland or Japan, and they'll meet again in the final, is normally what happens in the women's game.
Yeah, that sounds about right, because it was Canada and US in the last Olympics, wasn't it, in the final?
Yeah.
And Canada won it?
Yeah, Canada got in trouble in Sochi. No, in Vancouver, actually. Canada got in trouble after winning the gold medal. Because,
really?
Yes, because after they won the gold medal, they all went back onto the ice afterwards and celebrated with beer and what have you on the ice. But one of their players was only 19, and in Canada and North America, and they've got to be 21. So they got in quite a bit of trouble.
That's funny. That's very funny.
Yeah, so what's people saying? Sweden, Finland, Norway and Slovakia, Russia will win it, 420 Blaze, MLG Gamer, USA and Canada. Andy T, Finland has a great player in Eli Tolvanen.
He is a solid player. He plays for Jokerit, right?
Yeah.
Tolvanen. So, yeah. He's a rookie at Jokerit, I believe, of the KHL. Solid player. If that's the one that I'm thinking about, solid player, and he's a Nashville player. He's going to be a stud. If he manages to convert his game over, it's like Elias Peterson for the Vancouver Canucks and Rasmus Dahlin. If they manage to convert their games over to the North American game, they are going to be some solid NHLers.
Yeah. Andy T, my brother played with Eli last year. That's cool.
Nice. Here's my fun fact. One of my brother's friends went to high school with William Nylander.
Also very nice.
How cool is that? Nothing to do with me.
Right.
But it's pretty cool.
Let's round up then, because we're 5 minutes short of an hour and a half.
Oh, look at us.
So let's round up.
Should we do like a lightning round questions?
Yeah, lightning round. If you want questions, get them in now.
Yes, please do. Also, please feel free to tweet us at our links, which are down below. Let us know if you want more of this. It could become a weekly thing. We're not quite sure. We've had some people watching tonight, so that's good. I'm not sure what day of the week it will be. I might see if we can make it a Friday night every week. That might make
that'd work.
That'll make more sense.
EIHL memes have retweeted us.
Yeah, I did see that. It was very nice of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was initially thinking that we do this just for the Elite League because I used to do the Elite League's podcasts earlier in the season, but they just took too much time to do by myself.
Yeah. MLG Gamer, please do more. Andy T, do more.
Good. Right. That's what I like to hear. But yeah, like
weekly. I don't know about that.
I figured that we just open it up to the hockey world in general, because that means we can just have a discussion about anything. There's always something happening at that point.
Well, we had a discussion, didn't we? And we said that the EHL podcast was 45 minutes long, and when there's no interaction, it can take a while. So we thought we'd open it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris Brown, glad you enjoyed the retweet. Yeah, cheers, Chris.
Thanks, buddy.
Question.
If you enjoy it, Chris, if you could just spread the word. If you
that'd be great. 420 Blaze, are you just trying to make Hayden rant again by saying why the Panthers so bad?
Oh, I mean, I did kind of go into that earlier. Okay.
Yeah, do I need to hold up my disclaimer again?
No, we're all right. We're all right. I went through that for 20 minutes already. We're all right, Chris. Don't worry. False alarm.
Do the Minnesota Wild need to make moves at the deadline?
Now, the Minnesota Wild are one of those teams that very much stay very quiet throughout most of the season. They just go about their business. They win some games. They lose some games because they're not the most exposed team in the world. They don't really like that because they haven't had as much coverage as some other teams. They kind of go under the radar.
But that's like 5 in the Elite League, and Minnesota. They're in a wild card spot.
Yeah, exactly. So they've
gone under the radar
in 53 games. They're wow. Okay, so there is a big fight for that wild card spot in the Western Conference.
There is very big fight. We've got Minnesota on 63 from 53. Then we've got Colorado 52-62, Calgary 53-62, Anaheim 55-62. Big fight.
So the Minnesota Wild are in the Central Division.
They're 4 points behind St. Louis, but they've got
and they have two games in hand on St. Louis, so they could catch them. I mean, that the question is, do the Minnesota Wild want to secure a playoff berth? If they do, then yeah, they probably should make some moves.
Yeah, we'll have to go through these quite quickly. MLG Gamer, what's your thoughts on the Bruins season this year from 23rd to 2nd?
Don't talk to me about the Bruins. Don't talk to me about them.
They beat New York.
Okay,
and Andy T, Zach Parise, Ryan Suter are overpaid, I think.
Well, yeah, they are. And they won't be moved because
a
they're
lot of
overpaid.
players are nowadays.
Well, yeah, I mean, because the salary cap keeps going up, players ask for more money. I mean, Conor McDavid, he's getting paid $10 million next year. Carey Price is getting paid $10 million next year. Not to say that they don't deserve that kind of money, but that is a shit ton of money.
Yeah, it really is.
Right, last call for any questions. Yep. Got a few more minutes. And then I'll round it up if you need to go, Chris. That's no worries.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Oh, good.
Opinions on the New York Rangers letter to the fans from Chris, very quickly.
Oh, well, we had a big chat about that at the beginning.
We did. Go back to the start of the podcast and you'll get all our views on that. Yeah.
To summarise it, bit of a waste of time. We already knew what he was going to say. Which teams buy biggest at the deadline? Now, that is a very good question. We touched on the trade deadline, obviously, but we didn't touch on who we think are going to be the biggest buyers. At the moment, I think the Metropolitan Division could see a lot of players moved around. Or bringing in a lot of players, because the Metropolitan Division is the most toughly contested division out of all of them. Just to give you a bit of context, between first place and last place in the Metropolitan Division, 12 points.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Chris Brown, don't worry about missing it, mate. When we finished, you'll be able to go back and listen to that bit at the start. 420 Blaze, how are the Lightning doing now? They're down in 11th, not quite.
Well, it depends which Lightning you're asking about. Milton Keynes.
Yeah, that's
down.
Good. Milton Keynes or Tampa.
Tampa are still doing pretty well. Wow, Phil Kessel is now second in the league in points.
What?
I did not know that. He really has found some chemistry with Riley Shea, and Jesus.
And I think Yeah. Oh, Tampa. Yeah, Tampa's still killing it,
Let me
really.
just double check. Tampa, top of their division, 75 points in 53
75
games. They're
points.
1 point
Leading
above
the league.
Boston.
Leading the league.
Boston have gone on a brilliant run recently, so there's that. Vegas are now tied second in the league. Will any NHL team relocate in the future? Yes. The Arizona Coyotes, one can hope.
Who's first for points? We'll just round that off.
That's Nikita Kucherov. He is
Yeah, there we
1
go.
point up, I think. Yeah, he's got 66 points. Phil Kessel is second. Connor McJesus is third. Evgeny Malkin is fourth. And Johnny Hockey is... Malkin, Gaudreau, and Voracek are all tied fourth with 62. And Nathan McKinnon is fifth with 61.
There we go, then.
So, this was the pilot/inaugural Happy Go Hockey podcast. We weren't quite sure what to call it. So if you have any better suggestions, do let us know at our Twitter handles. Go and follow us. Me at OddmanRushYT, Chris at Chris_Gadsby.
And follow the Nottingham Lions and listen to commentary on Sunday night.
Definitely. There's commentary on Sunday night. So if I'm not streaming, go and listen to that instead.
I hope you're not streaming, because you always seem to stream when I'm at the Lions, and I can never join in.
Last question. Any coaches being fired? Elaine Vigneault, hopefully. But anyway, that's all. That's all done for the questions today. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. If you want us to do more,
leave a like down below, and then we'll know how many people are wanting to do it again.
Let us know via our Twitter handles if you want us to do more. Because if you don't tell us that you want more, then we won't do it. Because like we've had a decent amount of views here tonight. Not as many as I would have hoped for, but it's better than nothing.
It's a pilot. The word will spread.
Episode. If you like it, also tell your friends. Let them know that this podcast happens. And we'll keep you updated as to whether there's another one. I'd like to do another one.
Yep.
Hope Chris would like to do another one. And we'll just spend another 90 minutes some other day chatting shit about hockey.
Yep.
Can't really complain with that. Also, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm almost at 1,500 subs. I need like 2 more. Do it.
Yeah.
Please. So thanks for watching, guys. Thank you, Chris, for coming to join us today. Hopefully, I'll see you around soon.
Will do.
But yeah, thanks for watching, and goodbye, bitches!